just got
Wait,
back.
one question. Do you want to change that background right now, or you're going to leave it old school like that?
We're going to keep it raw.
Okay, man. All right. So we're starting right now. Let's go.
Yeah, let's start right now. Now. Shitheads. That's what I like to call my fans. We're on Talking Shit with Nick, and we got an awesome, like the archaeologist at NFTs, Adam Mcbride. How's it going, man?
Man, I'm psyched to talk some shit, bro. Let's get into it, dude.
Hell yeah. And I like, so like again, or my background, I like it like my steak. I like it raw, No,
bro. Let's just say Nick had some technical issues, man. Technical difficulties.
I had technical issues. Last night, my dog, I get home last night and I smell something like this crazy aroma. And my dog like projectile out of his butthole onto the floor. And at first I thought it was throw up, but it was just all over the house. And so I live with my parents still, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, hey guys, just to let you know, the dog, it pooped on the floor. I'm going to clean it up or as most as I can. So then I wake up this morning and my stepdad legit cut out the whole carpet out. So there's just a hole right in the middle.
Bro, you owe your stepdad a new fucking carpet, bro. What you need to go do is you walk in and you go, I'm so sorry. I apologize. It's on me. I would like to take you to the carpet store and we're going to pick out a new carpet.
I want to. The dog's, it's 3
years old. Want to. That's what you're doing, dude. That's what you're doing. There's no want to. I'm teaching you how to be a good son. You go and you say, Dad, I'm so sorry. Stepdad, whatever you want to call him.
I feel like I'm learning so much this morning already.
Dude, let me tell you a story about animals, dude. I have a pig, bro. And don't ever get a pig. Don't ever get a pig. She got trapped in my office last night, right here where I'm sitting right now.
Oh.
I was out like on a call downstairs on a Zoom call or whatever. And I hear her screaming like, wee, wee. She somehow had closed the door on herself in my office. And decided to save up 2 gallons of urine and just peed everywhere, dude. Literally wall-to-wall pee, man. That carpet I had in here is now in the garbage can. So I know exactly what your stepdad is feeling right now, man.
Yeah, it's so animals.
Animals are rough, man. Yeah.
Talking about different kind of animals. Let's get into NFTs, huh?
Let's do it.
But how long have you been in the NFT game, Adam?
So I started basically back. I mean, I've been in blockchain and psyched about blockchain since like 2016, 2017. That's when I first like started a business around blockchain. But I've been psyched about it. First time I heard about Bitcoin. I mean, it just made sense to me. But realistically, I got into NFTs, like got into them kind of January, February of this year. Of course, heard about CryptoKitties and CryptoPunks back when those launched, but really didn't dive in. And by dive in, I mean buy and sell, right?
Okay.
And that really happened for me with the Mooncat launch or rediscovery back in March. That was huge for me. It was my first time really aping into something. And then when Curio Cards happened 24 hours later, I was just completely fucking hooked. It was just like, this is the greatest thing in my life. And I've spent the last 6 months just diving in.
I've noticed it gets addictive, like a fun addictive is like you just constantly want to keep learning.
Yep.
And the people in the community like yourself and they're just so awesome and they bring so much knowledge to whatever you're trying to do. Like I feel like anything else, if I would try to learn, they wouldn't give me as much. But like everyone just spills out knowledge, like they want people to come in the like community.
Well, I think my view on that is, and I've seen it in the crypto space as well, but definitely in the NFT space, is there's so much abundance. I mean, really, people have made life-changing gains like overnight in this space. And so people with abundance can be very giving. And I think I found that as well. Like people are extremely giving. As only people with plenty that have plenty can be giving, right? If you don't have any food, you can't give food to your neighbor, right? If you have an abundance of food, it's easy to be giving. And I think that's the space we're currently in the NFT space. And so, it's an amazing place to be in. That's for sure.
Yeah. How I got into NFTs on my birthday on August 24th of this year. I tweeted out, I was just like at work on break, just like, just scrolling through Twitter. And I tweeted at on the same tweet, I did Gary V, Logan Paul, and Banks. And I was just like, would you guys give me an NFT for my birthday with like a just like a pouty emoji, just being dumb.
Yep.
And then suddenly Gary V replied and he's like, is it your birthday today? And I'm like, no. I'm like, shit, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. And then so he's like, remind me tomorrow and like send me your ETH address and I'll give you something. I was like,
Yep.
what? I was like, okay. So tomorrow, the next day, right? My birthday, I get all nervous because I'm like, oh my God, is he really gonna send me something? And I'm thinking like it's gonna be like a cool NFT, like a free, funny, cool token or
Sure.
something. And then I give him my Ethereum. I'm really nervous. I send it to him, and then he's like, "Here you go." And then I open it, and my friend already texted me because he's like he's geeking out,
Yeah.
and it's a curio card,
Nice.
and it
Yeah.
was the shout out number 27 blue.
Ooh, nice one. Yeah, that's one of his favorites. Gary loves that card, man.
Yeah, and then I looked at the value, and I almost shat myself like the dog earlier this
Bro,
morning.
you need to use that to buy a new rug, bro.
Uh, so I was just like just dumbfounded. I was like, wow, like this isn't. I showed my girlfriend, and she cried first. I think she showed like I cried through her,
Yeah.
and I was just so like appreciative. And then suddenly that's when the ball started rolling, like the snowball effect. Then I just started looking up NFTs, and then that's when I like heard about YouTube, just like finding out the 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 like the OGs of NFTs, and like that's when I first learning about the first Ethereum,
Hmm.
the NFT on Ethereum, the curio cards, and just on and on about
Yeah,
that.
the when Gary, I mean, I was, I was there for the rediscovery of Curio, right?
Yeah,
So you weren't even around back then; you were still a baby.
yeah.
But back then, back in the old days, 5 months ago,
Uh,
when that happened, it's funny, and this is almost with any kind of old NFT project. And I see it with people new to the space. They'll come, for example, we discovered one a couple weeks ago called Pixel Map. It's maybe a month ago, right?
okay.
2016 project, very historically significant because it was so early. And we relaunched it, and it's done extremely well. But I tell you what, man, there's so many people who bought in, and they bought in for like 0.35 ETH, and the thing's like at 3 or 4 ETH,
Oh,
right? So they've 10x their money. But they're still like, when are you guys going to do marketing? When are you guys going to grow this community?
they
It's
just
like, dude, like this stuff takes time. Like growing a community like this, it took Curio 4 or 5 months. Like we were back in the Curio Discord. Like there's 100 of us. Like this is cool. We think this is great, and nobody gave a crap. You know what I mean? It
yeah,
takes time to build community. It takes time for people to understand the historical significance of projects. It's really really nice when a big name like Gary jumps into a project. When he came into the Curio project back in like July, trust me, everybody who's been sitting there in Curio watching the cards kind of flatline for the previous 3 months were like, oh, finally, like finally somebody of significance recognizes this, right?
yeah.
And we had a magical run. Like literally the moment Gary, when it came into the Discord, I was like, okay, I'm re-aping in. And I was like, which card? I literally said in the Discord, I was like, which cards did Gary buy? And they're
Uh,
telling me all the ones, and I'm like, which one should I buy? And the Discord was like, go buy the blue one, man. Go buy the blue one. And I
yeah,
went and I bought like 10 of those suckers, man.
yeah.
And I bought them at like, I don't even know what it was. It was like 0.3, or whatever, 0.4, right? And God knows what they are now. But yeah, this is the excitement and the fun. Gary's got like 100 of those.
Crazy.
So yeah, it's funny and exciting when big players kind of justify. I mean, really, what they're doing is they're putting their anointment. They're saying, yes, this is legitimate, right? And
Yeah.
so for us, Gary doing that was big. When Daryl Morey from the 76ers, bought his curio cards, that was a big deal. And finally, now that it's going to have the Christie's auction later this week, that's the kind of like tip of the hat where we know
Uh,
that Curios is secure as a blue chip NFT project.
and that's just the beginning too. There's going to be so many other NFTs coming to Christie's, I'm sure, in the future.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah.
I thought the new thing too, I saw Gary tweet about like the Ethereum addresses. about, and I was thinking of buying all these domains for. I was already looking at McDonald's and stuff, but they're way ahead of the game too. They got some good
Yeah.
teams out
Yeah, I mean, I almost did that game, and I've done .com domains in the past and stuff. The thing is with them is they're infinite, right? And so it's like you can front run like who you believe are going to be important players, like McDonald's, right? If you get
there.
McDonald's.eth, right? There may be a flip in there, but
Yeah.
it's easy to. I've avoided that because I know the rabbit hole that I've done with like .coms,
Oh, gee.
and it's just like for me, it doesn't feel like worthwhile time wise.
Mhm.
What I try to do now, and it's hard because it is fun and addictive to kind of trade NFTs. I could spend 15 hours a day trying to
Just
find the new one and ape in and resell. I mean, you
yeah,
could do 15 hours a day easy.
yeah,
What I try to do, my a better strategy that works for me. It's not going to work for everybody, but I
yeah,
try to find okay, which are the ones I kind of I feel like this is going to be significant, and then what value can I bring to that community, right? So if I find one that's historically significant age wise, can I, you know, add to this? Can I tell the story of this particular project? You know, can I add to the Discord? Can I bring people into this project? Can I talk about it, tell the history, and actually grow the base, the people interested in it? Because that's really the only thing that's going to create long-term value is communities which love those NFTs and believe in them long term. And we've seen it massively with like Bored Apes. They were able to do it like a rocket ship.
yeah,
What they did is really, really hard. For me, the easier ones are the historical ones, the ones that are older, 2017 and earlier, where they're not making any more, right? So that's a super
yeah.
limited supply of those projects. And which ones can I bring value to and create kind of a community around where these are going to hold long-term value like Curio.
Yeah, I was I did an interview with Travis. Shout out Travis, one of the co-founders for Curios. And I like to compare right now for NFTs of like finding a great movie back then or a song. Like suddenly
Yeah.
you just discover you're like, oh wow, this is pretty good. Like no one's
Yeah.
talked about this yet. And just
Yeah.
like and like I like the recent interview you had, one of your recent interviews with Kev.
Yeah,
And
Kev's
he
great.
I like what you said about too about like you just got to grow your community. And if you believe in it, you sell it. Like if you buy on Amazon all the time, might as well just buy some Amazon and like pump
I
it
mean,
up.
it's really true. Most people, and I'll just say most like 20-year-olds who don't really understand how stuff works, they'll
Yeah.
buy into a project, whatever the project of the day is, you know, bored turtles. And all they want to do is flip that board turtles. Now, I get it. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to flip it too. I want a 20x too. But the reality is if everybody involved in that project just wants to do that same thing, that project's dead. Like
Yeah.
that is a dead project. Um, so for me, that I mean, and that's why it's so difficult in the modern day drop era. Like, how do you pick out ones that aren't going to be that when everybody is trying to flip, right? So when I start up a new community with a new project I launch, whether there's Pixel Map or Numberboard or any of the ones I've helped relaunch,
Mhm.
and people come in when marketing, when Lambo. I'm like, when the fuck are you going to get the fuck out of this Discord? Because the fact of the matter is, you are the fucking thing holding the price back. You
Yeah.
are. Like if you
Oh,
were a
you're
10-year holder of
yeah.
Pixelmap and everybody in here was a 10-year holder of Pixelmap, Pixelmap wouldn't be at fucking 2 ETH. It'd be at 22 ETH, right?
Yeah.
So we have to churn through all of these flippers. And
Yeah.
so from a historic, when we rediscover these historical projects, there's always, you just have to churn through them. You have to churn through them and you have to find people who believe in it long term. And that takes time. It took time for Curio. In fact, Curio's still going through it. Excuse me. There's still people in Curio who found Curio on the launch and got, you know, 500, 1,000, 2,000 cards even, who are selling, you know, who are still getting out, right? Those cards still need to get in the hand of kind of what I would call diamond hand people, people who believe in the long term value of the project. So all projects deal with that, and there's no avoiding it. But I would encourage your users who are probably trending young to
Yeah.
try and get behind projects and be like, no, let's not look at this as a 5x flip. Let's look at this as a 50x flip in 10 years, right? How do we build this thing? That's what I'm encouraging.
Yeah. I love that. Like me, I barely got into crypto like 2 years ago, kind of get into it, and I bought Doge. and I had like 69,000 shares. But my impatient ass, I just sold it. I'm like, I don't need anything. And that
Of
was
course, man.
even before I hit a cent. So I'm just
Yeah,
like,
no,
oh,
I get it, dude. I
ah,
get it, bro. That's the way humans are. I'm the
yeah,
same way. I've said it before. The only ones who aren't that way are insane people, like literally insane people. And you'll see them once in a while. There'll be that dude on YouTube who's got $8 million in Doge, and he's like, I'm holding it till it's $20. That's an insane person. Okay,
yeah,
good, and they've won. Like, congratulations, tip of the hat, dude, because
yeah,
you are literally like 1 in 500 million people. Like, you are a rare person,
yeah,
and the other people who can hold like that are rich people, right?
yeah,
Like the Winklevi. The reason the Winklevi haven't sold any Bitcoin is because they don't need it. They don't need the money. It's not going to change their life. You need to buy a fucking carpet. You need to sell your fucking Doge, right? Like, that's the way it works, man. Like, and everybody's the same way. I'm the same way. Everybody I know in the space is the same way. So there's no shame in it. There's no shame in you taking a profit in your
yeah,
Doge, and you were probably psyched when you did it, right?
yeah.
You're not so psyched now, but them's the breaks, man.
And with the crypto or with curio cards, it's helped me a lot being in the Discord and being around people that like love their product, right? Or like as their project they believe
Mm-hmm.
in. And I'm noticing like now, because I was guilty of like buying in something and doing a quick flip, but like now it's fun just to hold and just to see history. It's fun to be a part of history than be like looking at history.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, look, look. I'm not saying don't sell, right?
oh
I'm
yeah, yeah,
definitely not saying that. Like, I've sold curio cards. Like, almost all those blues that I bought, I
yeah,
sold
yeah,
because I was making money on the. I believe in taking
yeah,
profits, and everybody's got to eat. Everybody's got to buy new carpets, right? So, I'm not saying for anybody hold until the death. Like, no, that doesn't happen. But take for a lot of stuff. Try to take a little bit of what you're buying and think
yeah,
of it as a long term.
yeah,
Think of it how you can add value to that community and build something long term. Not with all of it. Some of it,
yeah,
dude. If you make a 20x in a day, take money off the table. Good for you,
yeah.
dude.
And plus too, I guess going into it, like advice, like you're just gonna drive yourself crazy if you think you're just gonna flip it the next day, or you gotta relax and just and like I like what a lot of people say, just honestly just buy stuff that you like. Don't think of
Totally,
something. It's like just love what you love. Like I bought a
totally.
a starry-eyed Squirtle for like $2 yesterday. I thought it was so cool. And earlier I would have never bought that, but I just love it. It looks cool. I
Yeah.
like the look of it. I know there's another interview I heard from you too. You're talking about, I think, Kanye coin or something like that. Like
Oh,
funny.
that was a while ago. I mean, one of
Yeah.
those. There were lots of coins back in the old days, and I
Yeah.
think that is one of that's a strange one. And it's not an NFT; it's a coin, right? There are all these strange coins,
Okay.
um, which people haven't really put values on, meaning they're basically still worthless.
Okay.
Um, there potentially might be an opportunity there for some of these older coins that at some point people will be like, oh, this is a cool kind of relic of history. And
Yeah.
there are a couple along those lines. People have gifted me what's called Mist coin, which is like one of the first coins ever made on Ethereum. I think it might
Oh
be the
wow. Okay.
first. Um, and there's like a million. I want to say there's a million supply. So what's the value of those? Maybe zero. It's very possible zero. But
Yeah.
this idea of collectability
Yeah.
of these things, which kind of live on the blockchain and are going to be there in 50 years as long as the blockchain still exists, are interesting from a collector's perspective. And it's a strictly collector's perspective, right? It's like,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, there are quite a few coins, and one of those is the Kanye coin. I think they had to change the name because Kanye was suing them. But
Uh,
anyway, it is kind of one of these relics of history. Kanye is one of them.
Not to like put you on the spot, but like, what's kind of the coolest way you've seen an NFT like make profit, or like an idea? The one I like too is like the music, how they make snippets of an
Mm-hmm.
NFT and they sell. Like, have you seen anything, or have you thought of anything too that would be cool for an NFT to incorporate?
We're so early in the development process of NFTs, and we're really still just doing the most basic of things with them. So I like to highlight anybody who's doing anything innovative in the space, and there are lots. I mean, as I've kind of rediscovered the history of NFTs, the ones that are along this timeline of doing something different. There are tons of them, and so, but we're still at the baby step. I mean, we're still at like the first steps. For example, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Mythicats. It was part of the Ethereum project. It's basically a card game on Ethereum, and they were one of the first. They were in like early 2018. And what they did is, as they got into the project, they did really the first interoperability NFT. And what they did was they allowed somebody who had a CryptoKitty NFT to
Hmm.
take that kitty and in Ethereum forge that kitty into a brand new NFT. So you could take your CryptoKitty in Ethereum and push it, and it would make a brand new NFT. Those are called Mythicats. Okay. There's only 540 of them. 200 of them have been lost to basically a dude within the community who lost his keys to his wallet. So 200 are gone. So there's only 350 of them. And it's really the first use case of a fully interoperability NFT in the history of the NFT timeline.
Hmm.
So I think those are really interesting. And I talked to the Ethereum founder. I did a podcast with him. I
Oh,
put out a little post on the Mythicats because I think they're historically significant. And of course, those went from like 0.2 ETH to they're well over 2 ETH now, right? Because look, it's just an awareness thing. It's the exact same thing as, finding a 2016 project. When I tweet about it, okay, it maybe reaches maybe 10,000 people, right? There's
yeah.
still the entire world that needs to know about this thing, right?
Yeah.
So, like anybody who's listening to my voice right now, if it's still 2001 or 2021, sorry, we are early, dude. Nobody knows about this, right? I mean, I know exactly zero of my friends in real life own an NFT, right?
That's so
Nobody owns one yet. So, like me telling the Mythicats story, I mean, I'm in my Discord and people are like, shoot, I missed the boat on Mythicats. Dude, you missed the boat? What are you talking about, dude? 30,000 people own an NFT, and you're telling me you missed the
uh,
boat?
yeah.
Dude, you didn't miss the boat. The boat's being built. The boat's not even in the water yet, dude. What are you talking about missed?
Uh,
We're so early, dude. Yeah, I mean, 2 ETH, maybe you don't have the 2 ETH, maybe you can't get it together, whatever.
yeah.
I get it. But to think you missed the boat, bro, what are you talking about, dude?
Uh,
So like that's one that recently has come up, which is a use case specific thing we see with NFTs, which is interoperability. And like that is something that, man, people haven't even started yet. They haven't even started. Like you think about, talk about our friend Kanye, right? If Kanye puts out his stems, like the pieces of musics as NFTs that other people can then use, but then pay him a royalty,
yeah.
guess what's going to happen? The entire music industry is going to change,
Oh,
right? It's going to change. That's why I'm working with a company called Amplify Art, where this is exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to like take NFTs into the music industry. So what happens when that happens? What happens when every artist on earth through the blockchain can receive royalties on other people using their music? Like,
oh,
hello, game changer, right? It's
so awesome.
completely destroyed the music industry and rebuild it in a new, better way.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that, dude. Nobody's even doing it. We're starting to build that. There are lots of people trying to build this stuff, but we're so early, man. We're so early.
I'm just curious just because I feel like you just been I like how you said you had a lot of multiple jobs back then of playing like you sold steak and you did like all these different things. But
Yeah.
when have you always been into like the internet space once it even happened? Like were you just all in right when it happened?
Totally. I've always loved. I mean, I'm at heart. I'm a tech guy,
Ah,
right? And internet, of course. I've been building internet companies like since the '90s, right?
yeah.
Or trying to badly. I mean, I've done so many different businesses in my life, but I've always been into the space. I mean, I was making YouTube videos back in like I have old YouTube videos from like 2010.
Oh,
Like,
that's so great.
I mean, this to be clear. I mean, I've had successful businesses and businesses we've sold, but
Yeah.
this is the first time where I caught a wave that was like completely in my wheelhouse of something I love doing, like
Love.
deeply love,
Yeah.
and all my skill set of like videos, podcasts, writing, speaking, all this stuff kind of came together.
Yeah.
you know, and that's just a miracle. I mean, there's no secret sauce. I couldn't have planned this. Like, it's just, it magically, like, it's a magic thing,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it was preparation. Like, dude, I've done videos for free for a decade. You
Oh,
know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I've done 500 podcasts, never got paid a penny, right? So when I encourage kids in their 20s, like, whoa, what can I do? How can I make a living? It's like, I don't know. I did free stuff for a decade, man. You know? So, I mean, I don't, there is no magic sauce. You hope that at some point in your life it comes together, and, you know, knock on wood, this came together for me and
Yeah.
it's magical, and I count my blessings every
Oh,
fucking single day.
that's all. Like, yeah, that's the dream. Like, you, of course, you have a career and you like, you want to pay the bills and you love it, but like something about a passion and you're like, oh God, I'm doing what I love. Like, that's so great. Um,
100%.
I had,
And I encourage people, like, to not to cut you off, but
oh no,
if
you're
you
fine.
got, like, because I know you guys, you're trending young here, but like if you're in your 20s and you like the NFT space and you're like, man, I want to make money like those guys, and you think you're just going to make money flipping NFTs, you might make money. Like, good for you if you can. But my advice is to find somebody or find a team or something and start building in the space. Like, just be in the space and
Yeah.
build. Like, be on a team, do something. Like, get a skill and learn and help people. And, you know, because if you're in the space and you're building, you're going to win long term. Like, it just is going to happen for you. And I can't tell you, like, dude, there's such a demand for assistance in this space,
Yeah.
that you can't. I mean, if you're a developer, if you can write Solidity code, you are making $250,000 a year easily right now. And I'm telling you, it's not that hard. Like, it's not. Like, if you seriously spent 6 months of your life working,
Yeah.
and just doing YouTube videos, you could learn enough to be a Solidity developer within 6 months. You could, period. Full stop. You absolutely could. It would just take effort, and you would never have to worry about a job again, and you'd be able to make $250,000 a year. Easy. Or more. Dude, I want a Solidity. I want to do a drop. Dude, give me a Solidity developer. He can make $500,000 tomorrow, dude. You know
Oh,
what I mean? It's like there's a magical window of opportunity here for people with the right skill sets. So, you know, build up your skill sets and work in the space, and don't be looking for a quick flip. Look for, like, how can I help people long term? Because if you can do that, dude, you're always gonna be able to make money. Always.
that's what I love about like the time right now. Like, ages across the board. Like, we're in such a lucky time where how I'm talking to you, have a show of my own, and just like I don't have to go through anybody. I can just do my own
That's
thing.
right.
Like, I think it's just a crazy thing. Since we're talking shit a little bit too, I wanted to know your experience with, like, did you ever get spooked by Y2K?
Oh, fuck yeah. Dude,
You
the
did?
entire world was spooked by
Oh,
Y2K.
can
Don't let
you
anybody
give us a little
fool you.
snippet of like what you were going through during like that time? Like, what were you thinking?
I thought the world was going to end like
Oh,
everybody else.
crazy. uh,
Dude, trust me, I had a couple extra cans of food in my house, man.
I
I
couldn't.
did, dude. Not I was, you know, I wasn't rich enough or anything to go
Yeah.
full eight, but like, dude, everybody thought Y2K was going to be a thing, man.
Uh,
But what I've learned with Y2K and the various things that have happened since then, it's almost like with the advent or the advancing of technology, the
mhm.
quickening of stuff like that happens. It happens quicker and faster. You know, as far as financial markets and meltdowns and stuff, this all happens at a kind of exponentially quickening pace. But what I've learned in my core is that people will overcome stuff. Um, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And Y2K was the first time in my life where I just said, oh, you know what? Actually, what actually happened here is people understood that was a risk, and people
Yeah.
started fixing stuff. Like, they fixed it,
I like.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, the housing bubble, guess what happened? People, like, worked around it and fixed it, right? Whatever the thing of the day is, the dollar collapsing or this or that, people will fix it. Um, as long as people are free. Like, and that's the big thing for me. Like, we're in the blockchain space, we're in the crypto space. You know, when you see things like China banning crypto, and these authoritarian regimes taking away freedom from people, that to me is the biggest threat in the world. Free people who deeply care about each other, which I believe 99% of people deeply care about other people.
Yeah.
We'll figure stuff out. we're getting better. I have zero question. I know there's a lot of questions about society and, oh, it's so terrible. Bro, anybody in the history of the world would trade, in the history of the timeline of the world, would gladly trade places with you sitting in front of your barbecue right now. Because,
No,
dude, you have more,
yeah.
even with $500 in your bank account, you have more than almost every king, queen in the history of the world. Like, it is a fucking magical time. We need to count our blessings and say, holy fucking shit. I can go anywhere in the world. I can do anything I want right now. This is fucking magic. I live in the United States of America. Get the fuck out of here. Like,
uh,
this is magical. Thank the Lord. Count our blessings and move on and go build something.
yeah. I love that. It's true. Like I've been, the more I've gotten older, the more to appreciate stuff. Like if I didn't get that one thing, I'm like, what am I complaining about? I'm going to my house. Like I live.
Trust
Go
me,
play
dude,
PlayStation.
everybody struggles with it. There's no person on earth
Yeah.
who doesn't struggle. I think like the great thing that I think you begin to realize, and I realize it now with time, and you start realizing that what's actually happening now is what our society has created is basically superabundance, which in the past was only available for a select few. So if you went back to 1850 right now, okay, how many people in the world had this ability to question their life, okay, to question if what they were doing is the right thing? And I guarantee you've had that question. Should I do podcasting? Should I do YouTube? Should I go fucking work at McDonald's? Should I go back to school? What should I do? Right? Nobody, almost nobody, unless you were a fucking Rockefeller in 1850, had the opportunity to question what the fuck they were doing. They had to fucking go to the coal mine or to the field, and that was it. They didn't have any fucking ability to do that, right? Now we have that ability, and it's terrifying because as humans, we like this idea of certainty and knowing exactly what we're going to do and to get up and go to work. And that provides a level of like comfort to our brain. So when you have to actually like question what you're doing, question your why, it can get terrifying. And that's what happens. And that's why you have like a rising suicide rate and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Because we start going, oh shit, what am I? Right? Where these questions were reserved for only a select few people back in the old days. And what did those people do? They went and climbed Mount Everest. They fucking sailed around the world, in their little boat to kind of find a why, right? Now we have that opportunity, which is really a blessing. And finding your why in this world, it's a magical time because if you live in the Western world, you have that opportunity, an opportunity reserved for only a select few people in the history of the world. And now the vast majority of our culture can actually begin asking those questions. And I think when that happens, we're going to build a society that's I can't even imagine how great it's going to be in 100 years.
Oh man, you just made me not even need like have some coffee. You just motivated the shit out of me. I'm going to go buy that coffee this morning.
No, it's great. And it's terrifying because I've been there and I've had these questions myself, where it's like, oh shit, what am I doing? If I don't do any, like I could do nothing and be a slug, or am I going to build something great? Or am I going to be good enough? Right? Am I going to make a big enough impact? All these questions are really hard. And nobody escapes that struggle of trying to answer that satisfactorily for themselves. It's hard, really, really hard. And, but to be able to ask those questions and choose what you're going to do with your life, it's a complete blessing.
Oh, I love that. Is for for NFTs, I've only experienced OpenSea, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's I've heard of Rarible, and there's like some other stuff like or other websites like that. Is
Sure.
that I'm sure too that's the only beginning. Like is that like just that's like I feel like right now it's like predates equivalent to like eBay. Like they don't even know what they're doing yet still on this like on these websites.
Yeah, I mean, look, the way it is right now, OpenSea is super important
Okay.
because it's basically the Amazon for NFTs.
Okay.
And I know people are moving to kind of these ideas of a decentralized NFT trading platforms, and that's going to happen. within the next few years for sure. I mean, it's basically already somewhat built, but the thing is, we as humans still need discoverability, right? We need to be able to find new stuff or stuff that's interesting, and that's where you kind of get this influencer economy where you're basically being told by Gary, "Oh no, curios are the ones," or "Oh no, punks are the ones," right? So that's always going to be play a role. Like the idea of somebody telling you about something is always going to play a big role. And the thing is with OpenSea, what you have is you have a big company telling you which ones to be interested in, right? And so we had that issue maybe 2 weeks ago where one of the employees of OpenSea, he knew what was going to be on the front page of OpenSea, right? They would highlight a project. And unfortunately, one or more of the employees were front running those NFTs, right? They knew that Cool Cats were going to be on the front page, so they went and bought Cool Cats, and then they sold them into a rising market. So, that's something that OpenSea I think is dealing with and will deal with, but
Yeah.
it's something. Look, it's the
They're
same
gonna
deal with Gary, right? Gary didn't tell you about Curio before he bought Curio, right? He
yeah.
bought Curio first, and then he told you about him, right? So it's the same issue. There is no look. Nobody on Earth. I think we almost need to move past it. Like no person on Earth is going to just go out and tell you about something without being interested in buying it first. Like, why can't we just all agree? Like, if I'm telling you about Curio, I probably own Curio, right? If you're telling me about Cool Cats, just by nature, I assume you own Cool Cats, right?
Yeah.
There's no problem with that. Is not a problem. That's a feature, right? That's not a bug. It's a feature. It's he believes in this. He already bought it, right? Let's be clear and transparent about what that is. And but yeah, OpenSea is kind of an issue with that. Who knows which platform is going to win long term? I put my money on OpenSea because they have the network effects already. I think a more interesting question is which NFTs are important prior to Ethereum, right? So we often just talk about the Ethereum NFTs, but
Yeah.
which ones on Bitcoin or even earlier blockchains were important in the history of NFTs? I think that's a more interesting question. We can talk about it if you want.
Yeah. And then with the I know the Sol and like other cryptocurrencies, you see that Ethereum's like is probably like the bread and butter right now, obviously, or people, it's just the most universal besides Bitcoin.
Right.
But you see it totally a lot of other cryptocurrencies coming in to trade, like on OpenSea.
So what I see is for NFTs specifically, not into crypto, but what I see is I see a timeline of history which started with a blockchain called Namecoin, and people tried to do what are now called NFTs. They weren't called NFTs back in those days, but in 2014 and 2015, people started trying to do the idea of digital scarcity controlled through a blockchain. They started doing it on Namecoin, and then they started doing it on Bitcoin. And I do believe those early attempts by artists, mainly artists, but other people as well, to kind of do what we now consider an NFT, are important for historical perspective. I just interviewed a guy. I've interviewed actually two guys over the last 2 weeks who did early NFTs on Bitcoin. These are, famous artists, world famous artists in their own right, but they were trying to do something experimental on Bitcoin back in the early days. And I think that's historically significant. I think we've already seen prices reflect collectors' desires for those early NFTs. And I think they're only going to grow in value over time. How they're dealt with, because these guys all did it through basically a wallet called Counterparty on Bitcoin. But there's a technology now which allows you to take those assets, wrap them in something called Emblem Vault. You've probably seen Emblem Vault on OpenSea. And think of it as like a box created by software. You're basically putting the Bitcoin NFT inside that software box, and that allows you to kind of take it all around the internet and put it on OpenSea and actually sell it on OpenSea. But the actual asset is still there on Bitcoin. It's just wrapped in this kind of software box that Emblem Vault has perfected. And now you can buy and sell and trade that asset on OpenSea. It's a fantastic technology. I'm going to have more content coming out over the next week or two talking about that, because it now allows the average user to own these assets on Ethereum, which is much more secure. And yeah, I think there's going to be a big market for those NFTs going forward because they're historically significant.
Oh, I wonder. Yeah, I just like I'm just getting like all just geeked out too. He's just saying like we're still in the beginning, like the boat's still here.
Right.
Like not the no pun intended open sea, like is right in front of us. Like there's so much that's like the ceilings just I can't like I remember you saying too, is just like it's hard just to like imagine what's gonna be in 50 years. Like
It's
there's
impossible. No,
it's
it's not hard. It's literally
ah,
impossible. Like we can't even like it's just a matter of the way the human brain works, right? We put one and one together and come up with two. Like that's the way the human brain works. So
yeah.
genius by our definition is taking one thing and taking another thing and putting them somehow together and creating a third thing, right? That's like human genius. The issue becomes it's impossible to put together things that are like multiple. It's I'll give you an example, and this is the one I like to use. Early internet, in the 90s, zero people on the planet, and I mean zero, could understand what we're doing right now. Could understand that I have an entire production studio in my pocket and can broadcast to the entire world. And I'm not saying this like, oh, there were visionaries who thought about it and they just didn't think it was possible. I'm saying nobody, 6 billion people at that time, zero, imagine that. Zero. It was impossible to imagine, right? That's hard for us to even, like today, it's like, no, that's not. Of course you could imagine it. No, nobody could imagine it. What is our reality today was completely unimaginable. Unimaginable.
Yeah.
They didn't think that they were discussing how NBC could have 500 channels. It would just be too expensive. That's what the discussion was at the time.
Right?
That's
so crazy.
You know what I mean? That's what well, how can an NBC have 500 channels? There aren't enough broadcasters to broadcast on 500 channels. And how are they going to afford the $8 billion it's going to cost in cameras, right? Like there was no, and then of course you can't even stream online. It's impossible. It's too expensive. We can't even do a radio show online, right? So the vision was impossible to grasp because there were so many impossibilities along that chain, right? From the cost to the bandwidth to the people to the everything. How can you have enough producers to produce 500 shows? It's impossible. There aren't that many producers in the world. They could have never envisioned that every human on Earth is a producer, and every human on Earth is a cameraman, and every human on Earth is a talent. I'm in front of the camera. They could never imagine that. It's literally, it was impossible to imagine. So Web3 and where it's going to go, bro, you can't imagine it. Like, it's not even a question of, oh no, my vision's not big enough. No, you can't imagine it. So that is super fucking exciting. Like, wow, where we're going to be. I like to think, oh, NFTs are going to be layered upon our reality and we're going to have glasses on and we can see, AR experiences in front of us and it's all going to be owned through the blockchain. Like that's my vision of it.
Yeah.
But I know that's inherently going to be wrong. It's going to be completely wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Why? Why do I know that's wrong? Because I look at history and I say that that's just not the way tech works, right? It's not the way humans work. People are going to figure stuff out that I can't even imagine right now. And that's super exciting. And that's why I encourage people just to be in the space because the space is going to be awesome.
That's how my grandpa, he passed right before the iPod came out and he would have shot himself if he
dude.
all the songs in one little square.
Bro, I'm telling you, that iPod with that spinny wheel, dude, I burned that thing to the ground. Like, dude, I was using that thing 15 hours a day. It was life-changing, man. It was life-changing technology.
So cool.
Completely.
Yeah. A lot of Pink Floyd. But no, if you wanted to, like, just a quick like snippet of for people outside the space, like Web3, that's just like the new wave of the internet, obviously. And right, or like what would you like explain Web3 and or I guess a better question too, just on that in that spectrum, like if like my mom, how would I explain an NFT to her?
The easiest way, there is no easy way. There is no easy way. Most people don't get it. Again, another pointer that we're super early. Most people don't get it.
Yeah.
What I tell them and I've explained it to friends or family or coworkers who I'm trying to explain what I'm even doing, is I say, you know, Honus Wagner baseball cards, right? There's only like 2 or 3 of these baseball cards in the world, and each one's worth like $2 million, right?
Wow.
Okay, so this is an old timey baseball card, and if you're in the baseball card,
Mhm.
game, you know the Honus Wagner. There's like a few of them.
Okay.
There's a handful, right? Each one of those, there's scarcity. We know exactly how many are, right?
Mhm.
Um, you know the provenance of each one, right? So this one got to pass from this guy to a Rockefeller to a collector. You know the history because each one is detailed out, right?
Okay.
And it's detailed out by whatever kind of the industry standard is. So maybe Topps tracks all of those baseball cards, and Topps knows that McBride has a Hornus Wagner. Then Nick has a Hornus Wagner, right? So that one is tracked by like Topps. So it knows where all those Hornus Wagners are in the world right now at all times, right? Because there's only 5 of them and they're super important, right?
Yeah.
NFTs allow that, but it's all done by computer software.
Yeah.
So when I buy or mint a new NFT, nobody needs to track it because
Mhm.
everybody's tracking it. Everybody knows about it.
Everyone
Right.
sees through.
Everybody knows the history. Everybody knows when it was created. Everybody knows who the owner is currently, and
Mhm.
everybody knows who the owner is going to be for the end of time. Right. So it's infinitely trackable by everybody. It's public, so everybody knows at all times who owns everything. Um, and that's really for the first time in human history. This is the possibility, and it's not a possibility; it's a reality.
Yeah.
That in itself is completely magical because back in the old days, 10 years ago, this was only possible through organizations and groups and gatekeepers, right? So back in the old days, even still, if you have a physical baseball card, right, and you want to get it graded, so somebody tells you the exact quality of it,
Yeah.
you have to send it to an approved organization who basically has people there who grade and mint and tell you that this is the real one,
Yeah.
right? And those gatekeepers through NFTs no longer exist. We don't need Christie's auction house to tell us that this is a legitimate Basquiat painting, right? We don't
Yeah.
need that because I know through the blockchain that this is a Basquiat, right? So
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's complicated. Most people don't get it. Most people in the world don't get it,
Yeah.
right? Which is great for the people who are early. If you are early and you're listening to my voice, congratulations. If you get this, you get something that is going to be a revolutionary technology. This idea of digital scarcity, digital ownership. We are at baby steps. Like the boat has not left the dock. The boat is maybe in the design stage right now. It's like still on a sheet of paper and somebody's drawing the sketch. Like they have not started building this boat yet. That's how early we are. It doesn't feel that way because we've had like huge run ups in NFTs. But trust me, dude, nobody in the world really knows on NFTs right now. Like it hasn't even begun. And so from that perspective, I encourage people to dive in.
I love the new thing that happened too on Christie is like a new first of like the Ethereum to be bid on. Or
Absolutely.
and I think that's really cool. Can you ever see it too like in the future be bid through Bitcoin and all that and so on? Because I know like is this Ethereum, like I said, it's just probably the easiest for everyone knows a lot, or
Mm-hmm.
how come is Bitcoin just for the price of the coin? Is that why like people don't, it's not used through that, or
I think from a trading perspective of NFTs,
yeah.
ETH is just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's for the people in the space. Ethereum is the blockchain, and ETH is the currency.
Okay.
And I have this story with my kid where I had sold an NFT, and it was life changing NFT, right? So if
Yeah.
I made 25 ETH on that NFT, this is
Uh,
life changing for me. I'm
no.
not a rich guy. That was a big deal, right? A really
Yeah.
big, right? And that NFT, I was gifted that NFT. How magical is that, right?
Yeah. It's
So
amazing.
that's when we talk about like uh, um, prosperity and the generosity of the space. Like I was gifted that NFT that I made 25 Ethereum on, right? Like
So
that's
awesome.
when that hit, and I got the 25 ETH in my wallet. Man, it's like bam, life changing moment, right?
Oh yeah.
So that was fantastic for me, right? And I'm
Yeah.
telling my family about it. I'm telling my kid, and my kid's 15 now, and he says to me, well, when are you going to change it for money?
Ah,
And I said, well, ETH is money. And he's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, yes, it is. You don't understand what money is, right? And
yeah,
actually, I'm a big believer in ETH, and I'm a big believer in what it provides to the Ethereum network. So I'm a big believer that ETH is money. And I'm not selling my ETH until it's tax time, and I have to pay taxes on that 25 ETH, man.
you're like, we survived Y2K. We know what we're talking about.
That's right, man. We absolutely did. And for anybody who believes that, oh, ETH is going to zero,
Yeah,
or oh no, Cardano is going to take over and it's going to outpace Ethereum, I say, look, it could happen, right?
yeah,
I don't know. He's a child molester, and nobody wants to use Ethereum anymore. Like world-ending stuff, right? Or everybody learns that they can hack the Ethereum network. Somehow Ethereum ends tomorrow. Like that's possible. Very, very unlikely, but it's possible. Okay.
yeah,
Um, but I know from experience and understanding that network effects and the way Ethereum has completely grabbed an entire market, I know that that's very, very unlikely. Like there may be an Amazon killer out there. You know,
yeah,
maybe Shopify is going to take over Amazon,
yeah,
but my gut says that doesn't happen often, right?
yeah.
Especially when you have network effects and you have the majority of the people using, working on it, building on it. The odds of it not being the one are very, very slim right now.
Like, there's
Very
going to
slim.
be a new NFL or a new NBA. It's just
Yeah,
like, it's
exactly.
done.
Good luck. Good luck. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah,
Like it's not zero. The odds of it happening are not zero,
yeah,
but they're close to zero.
yeah. I love I wish I was a fly on the wall when they come up with the names of these cryptocurrencies. I always like to see, like, yeah, like Ethereum. Like, what the hell would Ethereum be? I couldn't even, in my head, like, I couldn't even think of the name like that or
Yeah,
anything.
no. Actually, if you've heard Vitalik talk about it, because there's the idea of ether, which is like historically, kind of everything is ether, right?
Hmm.
That's how he came up with the name, or they came up with the name as a group. But it's actually a great name. Yeah, ether and
Sound
Ethereum is actually a pretty cool name.
and like, and then yeah, earlier in stages too, I always just say like ETH instead of E, or but vice versa.
Well,
And
you know, we call it
mix.
ETH, right? With like the hard E,
Yeah,
like teeth, ETH, right? We all call it ETH. The old school guys call it eighth. And I'm like, dude, you got to change that, man, because they use this like soft E. It's not
it's like
nearly as cool, dude. It's
back in the
ETH.
times when they say Ibiza or something.
Yeah, eighth. They call it eighth, and it's like, no, dude, it's not eighth. It's
Oh,
ETH, man.
so great. Well, Brian, I don't want to take any more time because I know you probably have a busy schedule too. I'm sure you got some projects and stuff. But
This is fun, man.
once again, too, just want to be raw to you. I'm very sorry I was a little late.
No
but
worries, brother. No
but
worries.
I promise, if you ever want to come back on the show, I'd love to have you on. It'd be talking more shit and stuff with you.
Loved it.
Um,
Say hi to all the shit fans from you. What do you call them?
shitheads.
Shitheads.
uh, yeah,
It's good
it's
stuff,
really,
man.
yeah. When I saw shit last night too, just like, wow, it's meant to be right now. Just good thought. Anything you want to plug? I know your podcast too on Apple Podcasts or other where you can listen to podcasts too. That McBride show or
Yep. Well,
any.
I mean, I honestly haven't been. I've been off of the YouTube for so long because I
Okay,
just haven't had time. Like I
yeah,
know how long it takes to produce this
and
kind of
that's a
stuff.
good thing too. You got
Yeah. So
it,
really, just follow me on Twitter, Adam A McBride. You can search NFT Archaeologist or anything like that. You'll find me there. That's where I release all my new stuff. If you want like the super early, what I do is I typically, when I find a new project, I typically give it to my Discord group, 10, 15 minutes before I tweet it out to the
okay.
larger world. So if you follow me on Twitter and you check my bio, there's a link to my Discord there. It's grown exponentially over the last couple weeks, but it's still a great spot. And we have literally the best NFT archaeologists in the world are in that Discord. So it's a great place. We have a lot of actually really important NFT artists who I've interviewed for the podcast and stuff are in there as well. So I think it's a great, unique kind of place to be able to interface with the leaders in this space. So that's pretty special.
Well, the space is really like lucky to have you in this space, Adam. It's a pleasure. Thank you for
I
taking that
appreciate it.
one the time to talk to me, and just hope you have a good rest of your day. and I hope you use the barbecue today or something. I don't know.
All right, thanks, brother. Have a
All
great
right,
day.
thank you so much.